What if I told you that the way you speak to a man can either magnetize him or make him quietly lose interest without ever telling you why? Most women are taught to be nice, to over-explain, to soften every sentence so they don't seem too much. But here's the truth, high-value women don't do that. They communicate in a way that naturally commands respect without raising their voice, chasing or playing games. You've been told, just be yourself, but no one teaches you how to powerfully be yourself, how to use your voice, your timing, your energy in a way that actually attracts masculine men. In today's video, we're not just talking about tone or word choice. We're going deep into the psychology of how high-value women speak. Why do some women get effort, consistency, and respect from men, while others are breadcrumbed, ghosted, or constantly confused? It starts with how they communicate. And no, it's not about manipulation. It's about alignment. When your words match your self-worth, you become magnetic. That's why the phrases and strategies we're sharing today don't feel forced. They feel natural, powerful, and feminine. This video is for the woman who's done explaining her standards, done overcompensating, done repeating old patterns. You're ready to be the woman that men listen to, lean into, and respect from the very first conversation. Let's get into exactly how high-value women talk to men and why it works every single time. Hit that like button now, because by the end of this video, the way you speak will never be the same again. There are certain things women say with the best intentions, but they immediately lower your value in a man's eyes. You might not even realize you're saying them. Phrases like, do you still like me? Why haven't you texted me back? Oh, I just don't know where this is going. Seem honest and vulnerable, but what they really communicate is anxiety, a need for reassurance, and a lack of emotional control. High-value women don't use words to chase clarity. They let a man's actions reveal clarity. What you say to a man tells him how you view yourself. And the moment you start asking questions that sound like you're seeking validation or over-explaining your feelings to gain closeness, you flip the polarity. You're now the one trying to earn his attention rather than allowing him to deserve yours. Another phrase to retire is anything that sounds like a threat or emotional manipulation, such as, if you don't do this, I'm gone. Especially if you don't mean it. High-value women don't give ultimatums. They make quiet decisions and follow through. Also, avoid phrases that diminish your standards or boundaries. For example, saying, I normally don't put up with this, but, or I guess it's fine this time, tells him that your boundaries are flexible when you're emotionally invested. That is the fastest way to train a man to test you. Even casual statements like, I'm fine, when you're clearly not, or sarcastic digs like, well, you always do that anyway, erode respect and create emotional tension. High-value communication is clear, calm, and non-reactive. You don't have to pretend, but you also don't have to perform. Instead of trying to force connection through words, remember this: silence, pause, and presence are often far more powerful. When you speak with intention. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. The moment you stop trying to convince someone of your worth, they either step up or step out. And either way, you win. So if you're ready to shift from reactive to radiant, from chasing to choosing, this video will guide you through exactly how to talk to men like the high-value woman you truly are. Keep watching. High-value woman energy isn't something you fake. It's something you embody. It's not about being cold, distant, or playing hard to get. It's about how you see yourself and how that inner belief radiates into the way you move, speak, and respond. This energy is subtle but undeniable. It doesn't beg, chase, or convince. It simply exists, and the right man feels it immediately. When a high-value woman enters a conversation, she's not focused on trying to impress. She's observing. She's grounded. Her presence says, I know who I am and I'll let you show me who you are. That alone flips the dynamic. She's not looking to be chosen. She's doing the choosing. This energy shows up in how she handles silence. She's not uncomfortable with pauses. She doesn't rush to fill every gap with nervous chatter or emotional oversharing. She allows space. She trusts that what's meant for her will never need to be chased. And that truth allows her to relax into her feminine power. You'll also see it in the way she reacts or doesn't. High-value women don't overreact to delays in texting, minor disappointments, or a man pulling back. Instead of spiraling or trying to control the situation, She returns her energy inward. She doesn't punish. She doesn't perform. Her response is calm, intentional, and often silent. And that silence speaks louder than any paragraph ever could. This energy also communicates standards without needing to state them. She doesn't repeat her boundaries. She lives them. If a man crosses a line, he'll feel the shift not through drama, but through distance. That energetic gap says everything. What makes this energy so powerful is that it's consistent. She doesn't show up one day radiant and grounded, then the next day anxious and chasing. Even when she likes a man, her self-respect doesn't waver. That's what makes her unforgettable. Not her looks, not her body, but the vibe that says, I am the prize and I move like it. And that energy, it's not about becoming someone else. It's about removing everything that's ever made you question your worth. Because once you remember who you are, everything and everyone starts responding to you differently. Most people think boundaries push men away. But the truth is, poor boundaries do more damage than firm ones ever will. When done right, boundaries don't scare away the right man. They attract him. Why? Because boundaries signal self-worth. And nothing is more magnetic than a woman who respects herself enough to say, this is what I allow, this is what I don't. High-value women don't set boundaries to control anyone. They set them to protect their peace. It's not about making demands or issuing ultimatums. It's about clearly communicating your standards through consistent behavior. When you calmly say, I don't continue conversations when I feel disrespected, and then you actually disengage when disrespected, that speaks volumes. It's elegant, it's powerful, and it teaches people how to treat you without a lecture. The key is how you deliver the boundary. When you express it from a place of emotional control, not anger, not fear, it becomes attractive. You're not trying to punish him. You're simply showing him what it looks like to be in your space. If that's too much for him, that's not your loss. That's clarity. Weak boundaries look like over-explaining, people-pleasing, letting things slide just this once, and staying silent when something bothers you. Over time, that chips away at your confidence and your value in his eyes. It tells him, I don't believe I'm worthy of better. And subconsciously, he starts treating you like someone who doesn't believe in herself. On the flip side, strong boundaries say, I value my time, my heart, and my peace, and I don't give them away lightly. That doesn't make you hard to love. That makes you worth loving well. Boundaries also create mystery. When a woman has clear limits, she's not emotionally available. She's not always reachable. She has things going on. She's not reactive. She's responsive. And that space gives a man something to earn, something to step up for. The right men won't be repelled by this. They'll be challenged in the best way. They'll respect you more. They'll listen closer, and they'll treat your presence like a privilege, not a guarantee. Don't confuse being nice with being lovable. Boundaries don't make you mean. They make you clear. And clarity is a gift to both you and him. It removes the guesswork. It shows confidence. And most importantly, it reinforces that you're not here to compete for love. You are love, and you won't settle for less than what aligns with your energy. So if you've ever been scared to speak up, remember, the man who's meant for you won't leave because of your standards. He'll rise to meet them, or he'll move so someone better can. Or either way, you stay in your power. Every high value woman will eventually be tested by a man, not because he's cruel, but because testing is often unconscious. It's how men gauge your confidence, emotional stability, and whether you'll fold under pressure. The way you respond in these moments sets the tone for how he treats you moving forward. This is where your power is either claimed or handed away. When a man pulls back, teases you, gets inconsistent, or says something provocative just to see your reaction, he's not always trying to out you. Often he's trying to figure you out. Are you reactive, insecure, desperate for validation? Or are you composed, centered, and in control of your emotions? Your response tells him everything. The biggest mistake women make when being tested is overreacting. You try to explain, justify, prove your worth, or even lash out because you feel thrown off. But that emotional spike tells him she needs this connection to feel okay. That's when the dynamic shifts and not in your favor. A high-value woman does the opposite. When she feels tested, she doesn't panic. She pauses. She observes. She trusts that how she responds determines what comes next. If a man becomes inconsistent, She matches energy without making a dramatic scene. If he jokes in a way that crosses a line, she calmly says that didn't feel good and creates space. She lets the silence do the heavy lifting. She doesn't argue for her value. She lets her energy speak. The power move here is neutrality. When he says something to poke at your confidence, like you're probably too high maintenance, don't defend. Just smile and say, only someone who can handle me would know. When he goes cold, you go cool. When he withdraws, you return your focus inward. You don't chase, you don't beg, you observe. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you choose when and how to express them. High-value communication is emotionally intelligent. It's not about silence, it's about strategy. You don't have to teach him a lesson. You are the lesson. And here's the secret. The more grounded and non-reactive you are, the more curious he becomes. He starts to wonder, why isn't she trying harder? And the answer is simple. You don't have to. Your presence is the reward. You're not performing. You're not available to be tested for someone else's comfort. You're either treated with respect or you're gone. Testing is inevitable. But passing the test doesn't mean reacting perfectly. It means remaining true to your value regardless of what he does. That's the kind of energy that shifts the dynamic, elevates the conversation, and keeps you in control. Not through force, but through unshakable calm. There are moments in every connection when the energy feels off, when you start to feel like you're giving more, waiting more, wondering more. That's when it's time to shift the dynamic. But here's the key. You don't need drama, demands, or deep conversation. You just need the right words delivered with calm confidence to reset the energy and recenter yourself as the prize. The most magnetic women know how to use their words sparingly, but intentionally. One sentence can say everything if it's rooted in self-worth. For example, if a man is inconsistent or playing hot and cold, don't ask, what's wrong, or where do we stand? That immediately places you in a position of uncertainty and need. Instead say, this energy doesn't work for me, period. Simple, clean, no begging, no explanation. Just a clear mirror showing him that what he's doing doesn't meet your standard. If a man tries to bait you with sarcasm or subtle jabs, don't argue. Just look at him and say, that's not something I entertain. This lets him know your boundaries without drama. You're not punishing him. You're simply choosing not to participate. When he goes silent or pulls back, instead of spiraling, lean into your power. Send a message like, I'm sensing some distance. Let me know if you want to reconnect. I won't chase you. That sentence alone will either wake him up or clear the space for someone who actually shows up. Another powerful phrase. I'm not available for confusing energy. It's classy, mature, and communicates everything without turning it into a therapy session. When a man hears this from a grounded woman, it signals that she's not here to waste time decoding mixed signals. She values peace over potential. Here's the truth. A high-value woman doesn't say these things to manipulate. She says them to clarify. When you start communicating from a place of power, not pain, you immediately shift the dynamic. The conversation changes. The way he looks at you changes. He starts to realize that your time, your attention, and your energy are not default settings. They are earned privileges. You don't need long speeches. Just a few sentences spoken with grace and certainty. The right phrases act like energetic switches, turning off confusion and turning on clarity. They remove pressure from you and place responsibility back where it belongs, with him. So next time the dynamic feels off, pause, breathe, and choose your words with intention. Not to get a reaction, but to protect your peace. Because the woman who can reset the room with a single sentence is the woman no one forgets. Silence is one of the most underrated tools a high-value woman possesses. In a world obsessed with talking, posting, reacting, and explaining, silence is power. And when used with intention, it speaks louder than any words ever could. A high-value woman knows that silence is not empty. It's not weakness. It's strategy. It's self-control. It's the ability to sit with the unknown without reaching for reassurance. Men are not used to this. Most women, out of insecurity or fear of loss, rush to fill every pause with validation, questions, or emotional pleas. But the moment you master silence, the dynamic shifts instantly. Imagine a man sending a dry or dismissive message, and instead of asking what's wrong or trying to fix it, you say nothing. That silence communicates volumes. It says, this doesn't move me. It says, try again with more effort, or don't try at all. That unbothered energy forces him to reflect, not because you're playing games, but because you're no longer reacting like everyone else. When you stop over-explaining yourself, when you let a questionable comment hang in the air without rescuing him from the awkwardness, when you don't immediately reply to mixed signals, you create an energetic boundary that demands respect. Silence draws attention to itself. It creates tension, curiosity, and space for the other person to step up. This is how queens move. They don't speak to fill space. They speak when it matters. They observe. They let others reveal themselves. And when they do speak, it carries weight because people are listening. They've learned that when she talks, it's meaningful. There's also an emotional silence, a refusal to beg for clarity. You don't need to keep saying, where is this going? Or why haven't you called? When a man pulls away, your silence says, I don't chase. It puts the responsibility back on him without drama. That quiet confidence is unforgettable. He starts wondering, why isn't she reacting? Why is she so calm? Does she even need me? And that's when he leans in. Silence also gives you power. It gives you time to process before reacting. It lets you feel instead of over-explaining your emotions in the moment. It protects your feminine mystery. When you're silent, you're not hiding. You're commanding the space. You're staying rooted in your worth, letting your energy speak louder than your voice. In conflict, silence is your shield. Instead of arguing or defending yourself, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say, I've said what I needed to say, and then withdraw. Silence is not avoidance, it's sovereignty. It says, I choose peace over performance. For the men respect women who don't react to every little thing. It shows maturity, depth, and emotional mastery. But this only works when the silence is intentional, not passive-aggressive or manipulative. It's not about being cold. It's about being centered. So the next time you feel the urge to fill the air with over-explaining, validation-seeking, or emotional reactions, pause. Let silence do the work. Trust that your presence, your energy, and your standards already speak for you. Because when you use silence like a queen, you don't just take up space, you own it. Theory is powerful, but it's real-life application that transforms you into a high-value woman. Knowing what to say and when to say it can shift any conversation, stop a pattern, and realign your worth without ever raising your voice. These real-life examples and phrases aren't just words, they're energy, delivered with calm, feminine strength. When used with grace and intention, they subtly reset the dynamic without confrontation. Let's say you're talking to a man who's been flaky lately. He cancels plans last minute or only messages late at night. Instead of saying, why are you like this? Or do you even care? You can simply say, last minute energy doesn't work for me. This phrase is assertive but elegant. It tells him exactly what's not okay without sounding emotional or needy. It's a boundary with class. Another example, he's making a subtle, backhanded joke about your standards. Something like, you must be hard to impress. Instead of explaining why you're not, smile slightly and reply, only when someone isn't used to quality. Now you've flipped the script. You're not defending, you're affirming. You've just shown confidence without even raising your tone. Picture a moment where the vibe feels inconsistent. He's hot one day, cold the next. Instead of accusing him or spiraling into a long message, you say, this feels confusing. I'm not available for confusing energy. Short, impact. You've stated the truth and removed yourself from the drama in one breath. No chasing, no begging, just clarity. Now imagine a man you're dating makes a comment that feels disrespectful or dismissive. In that moment, the old you may have brushed it off or gotten defensive, but the high value you calmly says, that didn't land well with me. You're not starting a fight, you're inviting him to raise his awareness. The moment you say this, he knows this woman isn't afraid to speak up, but she won't argue either. She expects emotional intelligence and leads with it herself. Here's another powerful one. When a man pulls away or goes distant, I'm not sure what this is anymore, so I'm going to take a step back. No drama, oh blame. Just detachment with grace. When you deliver this with calm conviction, he's left to feel your absence instead of hearing your complaints. And when a man asks what you want or expect from a relationship, resist the urge to give a long checklist. Instead say, I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm here to be aligned with someone who naturally gets it. That single sentence says you're not desperate, not settling, and not here for potential. You're choosing peace over pressure. The beauty of these phrases is that they don't demand anything. They reveal everything. Your standards, your self-respect, your emotional composure. And when used consistently, they train others on how to treat you without ever sounding harsh or demanding. Your words are a reflection of your internal world. A high-value woman speaks from clarity, not chaos. She doesn't need to say much because her energy does the heavy lifting. When you choose your words with care, you don't just sound confident. You become the kind of woman who's remembered long after the conversation ends. Speak less, mean more, and let every phrase be a reflection of the queen you are. Being a high-value woman isn't something you turn on and off, depending on who you're dating or how someone treats you. It's a lifestyle. It's an identity. It's how you choose to show up every single day, regardless of what's happening outside of you. It's not about perfection, performance, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about alignment. Living in full alignment with your worth, your peace, and your power. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't have to chase to be chosen. And you definitely don't need to prove your value to anyone. High value energy is felt the moment you walk into a room because you carry yourself with intention. You speak with thoughtfulness. You move with purpose. You know what you allow, and more importantly, what you don't. But embodying high value isn't just about boundaries or confidence. It's about how you treat yourself when no one's watching. It's the way you talk to yourself when something doesn't go your way. It's choosing self-respect in moments where it would be easier to people please, chase closure, or settle for crumbs. Those small decisions build your identity over time. It also means understanding that not everyone will see your value, and that's okay. Your job is not to convince or control. Your job is to live in your truth so fully that anything not aligned with it naturally falls away. Because when you operate from a place of true self-worth, you stop fearing rejection. You stop settling for confusion. You stop playing small just to keep someone around. And on the days you feel off, and there will be those days, come back to your center. Ask yourself, what would a woman who knows her worth do right now? Would she over-explain? Would she chase? Would she compromise her peace? Or would she pause, protect her energy, and choose herself again? Being high value is not about being hard or emotionally unavailable. It's about being selective. It's about having the emotional maturity to walk away from anything that costs you your self-respect. It's about knowing that love isn't proven through pain. It's felt through peace, consistency, and emotional safety. So as you move through your day, through your relationships, and through life, carry this truth with you. You are the table. You are the invitation. You are the standard. And the more you honor that, the more the world starts to reflect it back to you. You don't need to do more. You just need to remember who you are. Speak less. Stand tall. Move with intention. And never forget, high value isn't something you try to be. It's something you decide to embody.